Ooh, if you just saw me cleaning off my camera screen, I'm sorry. I had to clean off my camera screen. Random Saturday podcast today. Give me a second here while I get myself live on the gram. All right, I'm live. Guys, this is such a random time for me to be podcasting, but I didn't get to podcast yesterday. And I was going to just do a recording and obviously just do it that way and then post it on Monday or Tuesday. But I'm like, you know what? I'm just going to go live. And if people are on, great. If not, it's okay. Just a random Tuesday or Saturday afternoon. And I see some people are on Instagram. So, hey, what do you know? Today, I want to talk about undereating and this whole concept of if I'm undereating, why am I not losing weight? You probably are somebody who has maybe heard that in the past. I feel like I should be eating more. I keep getting told I'm not eating enough to lose weight, or wondering if you are undereating. Somebody tells you that why you're not losing weight, even if you're not trying to. You would think being in a calorie deficit, your weight would be going down. So I'm going to be talking a lot about that today. I'm chewing gum and I can feel it sitting in a weird spot in my mouth. So bear with me. Happy Saturday, guys. Can you believe it is already almost July 4th? I cannot believe how fast this year is going. We are almost hitting the halfway point in the year. So if you set some New Year's goals, hopefully you're still plugging along at them. And if you're like me and you just set goals all throughout the year, good for you. So always a dreamer. So, and if you guys have any questions about anything as I'm on here live, either related to the topic or not, always feel free to shoot a question in there. So today's topic is, if I'm under eating, why am I not losing weight? Because we know, well, maybe you know, maybe you don't know, maybe you've heard the word calorie deficit. But essentially, if you're eating less than your body burns, why is the weight not just falling off? And that's really what I want to talk about today. And, I think that a lot of women are very conditioned to think that if I'm eating less, I'm doing good. If I'm keeping myself from eating in a surplus, I'm preventing myself from gaining weight. And obviously, a lot of you doing that recognize it probably is backfiring if you're seeing the scale continue to tick up, or it's not going in the other direction despite putting in all of the effort. So the first thing that I want to talk about is essentially, let's just kind of talk a little bit about what we're seeing. Okay. So I think that this truly gets oversimplified. I think if we just always assume that eating less is going to create better results, or skipping meals is going to make you be in a calorie deficit, or even like skipping breakfast, it would make it easy for you to get lean. But what we're not seeing is that there's things that are happening underneath that you're not recognizing that are happening. And you're just associating it with mental stress. Maybe you're feeling like you're just not that fit. Maybe you just feel like it's your body, it's your hormones. And the first thing we have to identify is what's going on. So let's start by just talking about some signs that you are under eating. Okay. So here are some signs that you might be under eating. You have low energy. I think that's probably a pretty common one, but like you're just noticing you feel kind of flat throughout the day. Low libido, one that a lot of people don't think about, but you just don't have any interest in sex. Doesn't feel like something that you want to be doing. Your body doesn't have energy to live life. It doesn't want to be getting intimate and reproducing. Slow gut motility. Often a lot of women that are under eating don't even realize how much under eating is impacting the gut. Inconsistent appetite. So you might be somebody that either has a very sluggish appetite where you don't really feel hungry ever, but you also might get cravings, or maybe you're like, you get random hunger out of nowhere. Like all of a sudden you're starving. You might not have a big appetite all day, but then all of a sudden at night or 4 p.m. hits and you're starving. Okay. Some of the long-term things you might see are things like dry hair, skin and nails, or even hair loss. Maybe your nails are brittle. They break a lot. Maybe you have like some of those white lines in them. You get easily injured, or maybe your injuries take a little bit longer than they should to heal. Like you're just doing something and all of a sudden you feel something go and it's like, I wasn't even doing anything and now I can't do pull-ups for the next 6 weeks. Poor sleep, a big one. A lot of women don't, or men too, they have this tired and wired feeling. They think that they have a lot of mental noise, but it's honestly a sign that your body is underfed. Anxiety and depression is a big one, going through periods of time where you're feeling really sad, down and depressed, or like super anxious, fidgety, and feeling like you can't stop worrying. Poor performance in the gym, despite being consistent in the gym. And I say that with that despite, because a lot of times we can see poor performance if you just haven't been in the gym regularly. But if you're in the gym regularly, you should be making progress in the gym. If you're not, it's a sign that you're under eating. You might have a weakened immune system. Maybe you get cold very easily, or you get sick very easily. Cold is another one. That was the next one on there. Maybe you get colds, or you get like a lot of, just all of a sudden you just get sick and you don't know why you're always sick. You pick up everything. Your kids bring home stuff. Maybe you get wounds that heal very slowly, kind of going along with the injury thing. As I just mentioned, maybe you're somebody that finds yourself cold, or even you just have temperature sensitivities. Like you're very sensitive to the temperature in the rooms. Like, so I know for me, I get cold very easily. This is one of the things I know for myself, that when I'm under eating, that's one of the red flags for me. Thinking about food a lot. Even if you're not hungry, maybe you're thinking about food, whether it's you should be eating, you shouldn't be eating, maybe a lot of noise about what you should be eating. That's a sign that you're under eating. Irritability is a big one. So like you're just kind of angry for no reason. You feel like you're constantly walking around PMSing. And then a big one is brain fog, poor mental focus, just having a really hard time concentrating. These are all signs that you might be under eating. So, and I know that you might be experiencing some of these things, and it might not be because you're under eating, but if you're experiencing some of these things and you think you're under eating, I would always start by making sure that you are eating enough. And we'll talk more about that today. So let's go over 3 main things that I want to talk about in terms of this. I'm under eating and I don't know why I'm not losing weight. So maybe you are under eating with the intent of like, I was hoping that I would lose a little bit of weight. Maybe you're trying to, do that. Or maybe you aren't trying, but like you said, or like I said, you're wondering why you're not losing weight if you're truly under eating. So first things first is, are you actually under eating? How did you determine that you were under eating? So even if you have all of these symptoms right here, we're going to talk about how that shows up. But how do you know that you are under eating? So a lot of women go to a calculator. They go to an online calculator and it tells them this. So are you sure that you know that you're under eating? So that calculation is usually not right. Are you actually keeping track of your food? Do you know exactly what's going in to say, yes, I'm under eating? And we'll talk more about how this shows up. Number 2 is, are you overfed and undernourished? And this is a big one. Women that are under eating, you might be under eating nutrients, but not under eating calories. So that's why number 1 matters most. Are you actually tracking your food to know that you are under eating? And this will show up for women that are like, yeah, I had a coffee and a bagel for breakfast. And then I had a turkey sandwich for lunch. And then I had a cup of grapes and some nuts. And then I had, a Reese's peanut butter cup. And then for dinner, we had some macaroni and cheese. Like that's where you might be getting in more calories, but not getting in enough nutrients. Okay. So we want to see, are you overfed and undernourished? The other way under eating shows up is not even just looking at overall calorie intake. I think it's easy to associate under eating as just, this is my calorie intake today and I'm hitting it. But you want to look at under eating as over the course of what's happening over the course of 7 to 10 days. And a lot of times women will go through periods where they're under eating throughout the week and then overeating on the weekends, or under eating during the day and then overeating at night. This is still under eating, but it's under eating in a different way. We have to look at under eating. That's why I'm talking about this overfed, undernourished. You're probably getting in enough calories over time, but in terms of on a consistent basis, you're not eating enough to get your body in a state where there's enough energy available to do the things that you want it to do. Okay. So that's why I'm kind of harping on that, because that's going to lead me into number 3. All right. So number 1, are you actually under eating? So are you actually keeping track of your food 7 days a week? And I'm not talking about you having to be perfect, but you have a general idea of how many calories are going in. Number 2, are you taking in too many calories, but actually not getting them at the right times or in the right type of nutrients? So you're overfed over the course of time, you're undernourished, right? So that's another big red flag. Now we're going to talk about number 3, why you are under eating and you're not losing weight. Okay. You're not 80 pounds at this point, despite under eating for years, right? Metabolic adaptation has set in. And this is what happens when you are under eating. So whether you are getting enough calories in over the course of 7 days or not, your body is adapting to what's happening on a daily basis. So if you continue to underfeed yourself all week and then have a couple of high days, it's Saturday afternoon and you're like, oh, I'm sitting here munching on chips, and this is like the only day of the week that you actually allow yourself to eat enough, Your body is adapting to that. It's learning your patterns and it's learning how to troubleshoot the lack of energy that's to come. So you're storing rather than burning versus somebody who is eating maybe the same amount of calories as you on a consistent basis. They might be losing weight and still able to eat those chips on a Saturday because they're feeding their body enough throughout the week. Your body just ends up burning less calories. So maybe in the beginning, you might have been somebody that's like, yeah, I changed my diet. I started tracking my food, but now I was losing weight and now I'm not anymore. Your body is burning less calories. And it's not the things that you're doing intentionally. It's not, I think we all like to think, oh, my Apple Watch says I burn this many calories or whatnot. It's the things you're doing on a daily basis. It's walking, it's moving, it's blinking, it's how much you're talking, it's how much your energy you have doing certain things. Are you fidgeting in your chair or are you slunched over? Like your body starts to adapt. And those are the things where people are like, I'm not even, doing anything different. Yeah, your body is adapting. Your non-exercise based activity, thermogenesis, has gone down. Okay. So this also can lead to some long-term serious problems. If you are underfeeding yourself for a long time, we'll start to see thyroid dysfunction. TSH will go high. We'll see reproductive hormone dysregulation. You'll start to have issues with maybe iron storage, especially with my female clients. I see this very common. And again, kind of going into some of the other symptoms, some of those things happen acutely, but they also happen chronically as well. You'll start to get where other things start to break down. In fact, this can even trigger some autoimmune. So it's really important for you guys to understand that undereating isn't just about calories. It's about nutrients. It's about timing. It's about everything. However, calories on a consistent basis, macronutrients on a consistent basis are what matter most. So if you are somebody who suspects that you are undereating, all right, you are somebody you're listening to this and you're like, yeah, this is definitely something I'm struggling with. And you are ready to change. You are ready to do something about it. The first step is you need to start tracking your food. I am not saying you have to start looking at specific macros. I am not telling you to go online. We will take it to the next step. If you want to, you can either DM me course. I think there's going to be a link to it in my show notes. But you need to start getting a general idea of what you're actually consuming now. The second part of this that I will talk about is, let's just say you're tracking your food and you're listening to this. Maybe you have been told you're under eating, that's why you're not losing weight. And you don't have any of these symptoms. Maybe you don't have any of these symptoms and you're just not losing weight and you're wondering why, despite eating 11 or 1,200 calories, your weight's not going down. You just might not be burning as many calories as you think. And that's also another problem. That's the other end of the spectrum. So I have a lot of clients that come to me who have been significantly underfed. And then I have some clients that come to me who just are not burning as many calories as they think. This happens a lot with petite females. I'm 5'3". I'm a petite female, but 5'3" and below, calorie intake is a little bit harder to assess. Activity level matters a lot. Lean muscle mass matters a lot. And activity level outside of the gym matters a lot. So you just might not be burning that many calories. And I think that this is where we have to actually understand what your biofeedback is saying. So aside from all of this, on a daily basis, you need to kind of take a look at things along with what your movement looks like. So if you are listening to all of this and you're like, yeah, I really need to dial things in, I want to get things dialed in, I am also hosting a masterclass next Thursday. It's going down at 1 p.m. EST. It's called Mind Your Macros. I am going to be breaking down all the things related to calorie intake, macronutrient intake, kind of looking at the different, and this is going to be one of the biggest things I talk about, because with all of my clients, I really do try and encourage them to keep calories higher until we have to pull things back. But even when we're pulling things back, we're doing it very strategically to lose body fat. So if you are looking to learn a little bit more about how to feed yourself enough, whether it is to lose body fat, whether it is for performance, whether it is because you suspect that maybe long-term you have been under eating and you're trying to dial things in so that you feel a little bit better throughout your day, join the masterclass. I do have a link to that in the show notes. And again, if you want to join that, just DM me macros and I can send you the link to that as well. So does anybody have any questions? I'm going to keep today a little bit shorter today because it is Saturday afternoon. I see a lot of people kind of hopping on Instagram here. So happy Saturday. Does anybody have any questions about any of this? Because I'm going to hop off, get myself to the grocery store for Saturday. All right. I guess I'm going to hop off. If y'all have any questions about anything I talked about today, feel free to reach out to me. Talk to y'all soon.